Good morning, gentlemen and ladies of the press. Welcome to the press briefing by the Ministry of Lands and Housing. My apologies that we're starting an hour behind schedule. Thank you for honoring our invite. The title is a press briefing on recertification of title documents in Abia State. Abia State commenced the recertification of all land title documents on the 3rd of June 2024 and called on all members of the public to submit their title documents and any claim they may have on any land or property in the states to the Ministry of Lands and Housing, giving a grace period up to 14th July 2024. Eventually, and listening to the generality of Abians, the period of grace was extended to 30th of August 2024. The purpose of the recertification exercise includes review and updates of our land records, upgrade of survey records from the Nigerian/local origin to Universal Traverse Mercator, UTM, update on payment of ground rent and taxes, revalidation of allocations, and updates on the Abia State Social Security Identification Number, ABSIN. All these are aimed at proper planning and cleaning up of Abia's land records for its optimal management and administration. Following the expiration of the grace period, any title document that was not submitted for recertification shall no longer be accepted within the ministry or her agencies, and this includes the planning authorities, until submitted for recertification. The ministry is now verifying documents that have been submitted so far and activated the invalidation of titles for transactions until they are recertified. Additionally, allocations within government layouts shall be withdrawn for default in the terms and conditions of the offers, which includes non-development. To this end, the following layouts are immediately affected: Valley View Estates Phase 1 and 2, Public Servants layout, also known as Cattle Lairage at Mbarakoma, the Mbarakoma Mini layout, and also the MBC layout. The Abia State Estate Development Agency, ABSEDA, formerly known as PIU, an agency under the supervision of the Ministry of Lands and Housing, is also part of the recertification exercise, and this includes all its estates. As part of the cleanup of ABSEDA, the agency has suspended all allocations made in Umuahia and Mba. A strong warning is hereby extended to persons encroaching into estates of the agency at Ogo Nsukwe and Amibo Obakala to desist forthwith or face the law. A strong note of caution is also extended to anyone transacting on these lands.
Introducing ABN Radio and Television, your new favorite app. Stay informed, entertained, and connected with the latest news, music, and videos from Nigeria and beyond. Download the ABN Radio and Television app now on Google Play and enjoy. Live streaming of news, sports, music, and entertainment programs. On-demand access to your favorite shows and podcasts. Breaking news updates and notifications. Exclusive videos and interviews. Personalized experience with customizable settings. Get started in 3 easy steps. Open Google Play Store on your device. Search for ABN Radio/TV. Click install and start enjoying your new favorite app. Join the ABN Radio/Television community today and stay connected to what matters most.
Withdrawal of government allocations and what's the impacts? If you have an allocation letter, there are certain terms and conditions on that allocation letter which need to be fulfilled. Part of that is sending in an acceptance letter within a period of time. Part of that is developing that land within a period of time. Part of that is paying certain fees, statutory fees. So the terms and conditions on which any allocation was given by the government is specific. Failure to meet up with any or all of those terms and conditions results in withdrawal So when we say we are withdrawing allocation letters, that is what we are doing. We're giving that notice, and as a first instance, we have started from the locations that were announced, the Valley View Phase 1 and 2, the Public Servants Layout in Umuahia, also known as Cattle Lairage, the Mini Layout in Umuahia, and also the MBC Layout. So will it affect everyone that has an allocation within those areas? No. If you have met the terms and conditions as it relates to your allocation, it wouldn't affect you. So it's being handled on a case-by-case basis. But as I said in the press interview, we are cleaning up our land records. So that is the general essence of what we are doing. Madam Ju, that akwụkwọ ala enwe before, or they go defective. Onwe ihe mere ya that anyị na-eme recertification ọzọ. Or upgrade ka anyị na-eme. So onye ọbụla nwe akwụkwọ ala na-abịa, anyị sogo wete akwụkwọ ahụ. Anyị ga-ele ya, cheke ihe ọbụla gbasara ụgwọ ọbụla iji gọọmenti ekwuchaghị ya. Akwụkwọ ahụ iji, the mapping nọ na akwụkwọ ahụ ọ dị mma, o need the upgrade. So ọ bụrụ upgrade, ọ nwere ndị ji 2 CFOs over one property na Abia. And one of such examples bụ ebe ha na-akpọ Modern Ceramics and Maduna. Anyị achọrọzi ụdị ihe ahụ. So part of this recertification exercise, I get check both titles, lee nke dị superior. So one way or the other, if one get the title, I withdraw the less superior one. Or when the allocation letter, hamarado ebe ala ahụ dị. I actually did here. So part of this recertification exercise will correct all these wrong things that we inherited as a government. And how are we tackling these issues as it relates to these various estates? I will not make a general statement, but as part of the recertification exercise, we're handling things on a case-by-case basis. Anybody that has an allocation from AFSEDA or PIU has to have an allocation, has to have a CFO. So number one, what is the root of title? Was the acquisition properly done? Have we properly settled with the community in terms of the MOU, in terms of the whatever payment that needs to be done, so that people have unencumbered access to their lands? Was the survey properly done? Was the planning properly done? Was the land records properly done? So what we find out in a number of our estates and allocations was that these processes were not followed. So people then do not have unencumbered access to their lands. You want to develop your land, you have issues with the community, or somebody else has a claim to that property. I can't speak in specific terms to that question and all that. We'll probably get back to you on it. But all I've mentioned to you is the process we're following in ensuring that we clean up all our land records. And the question was asked, if you did not submit your title document for recertification, does that mean your title will be revoked? If you did not submit your title document for recertification, we will place a restriction on your transactions on that land, be it doing searches or going for building plan approval or trying to transfer it from one person to the other person until you submit it for recertification. In certain instances, it may be withdrawn where is an allocation and you have not fulfilled the terms of that allocation. And also, if somebody else has an existing claim on that land that you're not aware of, if you haven't submitted it, you're exposing your claim to that same property. So like I said earlier, what is the purpose? We are upgrading and cleaning up our land registry. Okay, all the layouts that the indigents recovered it in court. These are the details we are looking at as part of our cleanup process. When we say updating land, we go back to the root of title. When I'm giving you a title, is that title document I gave you, is it sitting on a defective title? And can that defective title be corrected? What do we mean by defective title? For acquisition to happen, compensation is part of the acquisition process. So we've gone and given titles to people, and we have not properly tidied up the acquisition process. It implies a defect in your title, which as part of this recertification process, we will correct. So in the Ohobe layout, if indeed there is a court ruling, being a government that believes in the rule of law and all that, we will take all this into consideration. Is it recertification of government layouts alone? No. As long as you have any claim to land and title in Abia, you are part of the recertification process. We've said it in previous interviews, we don't want our allocation letters, we don't want our title documents to be like tissue paper, where you have a claim to title and another person has that same claim to title. So be it land that is within a government layout or land that you inherited or got or bought from a third party, it is part of the recertification process. We go through the process of verifying that your root of title is in order, that you've paid whatever dues to the government you have to pay, the building plan approvals and everything are in order, and then we reissue you a fresh CFO renewal, and the state of infrastructure of our existing projects is nothing to write home about. And the government has started this rejuvenation exercise from Ehimiri housing estates. We can all testify to the road infrastructure brought in there. Other estates, like the one we have in Amoba, the ones we have in IBB Phase 1, IBB Phase 2, will not be left out. Between now and the end of the year, we will be rolling forward in the creation of new housing estates and new layouts. But while moving forward and creating new ones, we would also be looking backwards and perfecting the existing ones. And in building an estate, in terms of proper planning, we've now put back the P in planning. You don't just build an estate, the infrastructure is not there. You don't have the ancillary facilities like maybe a shopping mall or the utility that supports that estate. We are now thinking in terms of sustainable estates, and this was very much mentioned by His Excellency when he talked about smart cities and sustainable cities. So we are taking this into consideration. We are no longer just dumping houses in places without infrastructure, without planning, without any supporting facilities. So from the estates that we will be rolling out between now and the end of the year, the difference will be clear. And also for the existing estates we have, as part of our urban renewal policy, we would also be upgrading the infrastructure in those estates. Under the purview of the Planet projects, which His Excellency did the groundbreaking on the same day he commissioned the JTU Ironsi Boulevard. So it includes everything, including the buildings there. Like I said, everyone and anyone with interests in that area, it's been the entire properties and interests there have been revoked for overriding public interests. We're a government that believes in due process. So acquisition and fair compensation go hand in hand. Part of what we're doing to checkmate fraudsters is a recertification exercise. So we're able to check whether your title document is valid or not. Secondly, we are running a more open, transparent, and accountable system. As such, you could reach the Ministry of Lands through its helpline 0916 000 2083, or you could transact your business at the customer service area of the Ministry of Lands and Housing on the first floor of the ministry. So how are we checkmating fraudsters? By being more visible, by being more efficient in how we handle land transactions, which happen within 30 days. So you do not have to go through a middleman in order to process your land documents. You don't have to go through a middleman in order to carry out a search report or verify what you are doing before engaging in land transaction. If it's in a period where the ministry was inefficient and you could not find them, then you then have to then start looking for this middleman or that middleman, and then run the risk of running into fraudsters. But now that we're running a more open, transparent, and accountable system in which title documents are processed within 30 days. That is what we do in checking fraudsters. But recovery is a very big deal for the government, and as announced by the government, not 1 inch of any landed property belonging to the government will be allowed to be left in private hands. We're already aware of the ongoing recovery of public schools, where any encroachment on public schools are being reversed. So the point made on the farmed estate in Okoyi, Ibeku, we've taken note of it and we'll follow through on it. Months to the end of the year, and before the 4 months runs out, we will be rolling out new estates, and also we'll be rolling out new layouts, which answers your questions of new allocation. But it was important that we regularize the process. We want a cleaner, more transparent process in which every Abian has his fair rights to an allocation.